Welcome into a season preview on the football season upcoming for the local teams. Buena Vista and Salida are really going to be what we're talking about most. I'm Caleb Berggraf, voice of Salida and the Spartans. Jimmy Dugan joining us as well here at Fairway Mortgage's offices in Buena Vista. And you're the voice of the Demons. First of all, I'm glad that you had some time to do this with me.
Well, appreciate it, Caleb. We had such a good time last year bringing the broadcast to everybody, and we look forward to bigger and better 2019. And working with you, not only as the voice of the Demons, but along with some of the Salida broadcast, has been a lot of fun. And hey, I'm excited about the new season.
I'll tell you what, there's a lot of storylines going into the season. Before we get too far into that, let's recap last year a little bit. Salida, to start off, very strong year, obviously making the second round of the playoffs, able to go through. A lot of senior-heavy classmen on that team, and I think they got to feel good about how far they got, but a little bit disappointed. That's going to leave some hunger for them this year, though, and a lot of open shoes to fill for the Spartans, and that's going to be a lot of the stuff to watch with them. But I think there's going to be some confidence coming in, especially, again, you talk about coming in second in the Intermountain League, your only loss in the Intermountain League, a come from behind from Bayfield, who is the defending Intermountain League champs, defending state champs from last year going into it. And then you lose to the eventual state champs in the playoffs. So a lot of good coming from Salida. What did you see from Buena Vista last year?
You hit the nail on the head about the senior-led teams. I mean, same thing in Buena Vista. I mean, with the talent that they had, here in Buena Vista for the last few years, it's going to be hard to, replace that. But I don't think anybody on this team is going to sit there and dwell on it, because what I love about head coach Matt Flavin, he does a great job of reloading every year, and you've seen that in the past. Granted, the biggest issue last year was size, so they had to certainly rely on their speed. You're going to see that again this year. I think the fact that at positions like quarterback, at least you've got a guy coming back that's going to see some time at quarterback, maybe not be the starter this year, but I'm talking about Tucker Storms, that has had some experience already. That's going to help this team. But it's going to be, I don't want to say look into a mirror, but you're going to see a team that's going to have to rely on their speed again this year, because last year, if we want to recap the season, certainly had some injuries, that may have been an issue. A change at the quarterback position that had to shake things up a little bit. They had to retool their offense because it was built around particular style of play early on, and as the season went on, you started to see them break away from the run game slightly and start to throw the ball a little more towards the last part of the season. I'm curious to see if you're going to see that translate to this year. Because last year we saw a lot of the jet sweep, a lot of option. But once again, as the season went on and you faced these teams that out-physicaled Buena Vista, you had to rely on the pass a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. So I think passing for both teams in Salida and Buena Vista is going to become a big part of what we see in the games upcoming. There's a rumor there's going to be a new face for Buena Vista at quarterback. I can't confirm that yet, but there's a rumor that you might be seeing a very new face into that one. He's familiar to the area.
Sure.
But Tucker Storms, you mentioned him. He's kind of my wild card for Buena Vista and the Demons because of the fact he can play quarterback, because he has that time in that slot position and the receiving positions. He's really one of those do-it-all type of kids, very similar to what Andy Lemoncelli turned into for Buena Vista last year, where he's kind of that jack of all trades that you can have. But I think that adds something, especially if they put him in that slot position. That's where I would place Tucker right now, because he has one thing that Matt Thompson from that slot position last year did not have, and that's the ability to throw the football, which opens up your offense just a little bit more. And that's why passing for BV, it's going to be an interesting piece to see what exactly develops on that passing game, because there's really a placeholder right now. That's the big thing, is they have a quarterback who's going to be a freshman this year. When is he going to be ready for that quarterback spot? And that's going to be a big question.
Yeah, with the idea of Tucker Storms coming off the edge, possibly you're going to see more of a RPO type of an offense. So, I like that because it keeps the defensive coordinators guessing, who they're going to face. You're like I said, I'll get back to this. You're not going to see Buena Vista out physical people.
No.
this year. You're not going to see it. They just don't have the bodies to do that. So they're going to have to rely on the speed and the the RPO, which pass option style of play, which gives you more options.
Yeah.
And I think that with the speed that we saw last year and that you're going to see this year, I think it's going to work for them.
I think so as well. And you're not losing in Buena Vista's case. You lost a lot of seniors, and the leadership is going to need to be rebuilt. But I feel as far as athlete to athlete, they're really reloading very well. You mentioned Flavin; he does a very good job of that with the Buena Vista Demons. And the only one that I think everybody was really kind of curious about is that Drew Martin spot on the out. Again, that slot, also outside receiver position. Tucker Storms will take part of that, but what do you do for the size? Luke Yates is going to be back. He's going to be onto the football field. Really kind of a role player, a special teams player, defensive player last year. He's going to turn into a big part for the Demons this year on the football field on that offensive side. Before we talk about the Demons on defense, Salida, they've got a couple of questions on their own in terms of that quarterback position. They know who it's going to be. Zane Walker is going to be the new quarterback. A junior got some starting time last year before giving away to David Zwingers. The bigger question for Salida is who is he going to give the ball to? And I've heard a lot of different answers. Size is not going to be Salida's friend this year. Buena Vista, very small last year, Salida very big. This season, they're going to be very tight to each other. The only real size that Salida has is a big kid, Jesse Camp. He's returning from last year. He'll anchor that line a little bit, but they're going to have some young members of that team on the offensive line, and they're also going to have young running backs and young wide receivers. And that, I don't know what you've seen in your past with young wide receivers and young people that are still getting used to the game, but that's really a lot of what you saw last year towards the end of the season when injuries started kind of affecting some things. What do you think about a team that takes that type of a drop back, and how does a quarterback respond to that?
It's the number one thing you start with is he's an athlete, so he's going to be able to adjust because at this level, you're kind of coming into your own on a year in and year basis. And granted, yes, he doesn't have the big back and Vincent a little like he did last year behind him, but I really believe that with him still learning the game, as a young athlete, it's not going to be that hard of adjustment for him. I think he'll do fine. I like the fact that this team had the kind of season they had last year because I understand it was a senior-laden team, but at the same time, it gave these young kids a taste of what it feels like, and I think you're going to see a lot of maturity in these kids in a hurry this year.
Yeah, and you mentioned the leader that comes back in Jesse Camp and Zane Walker. Those two are not bad people to have coming back for you. I mean, great kids. Jesse Camp, a former Buena Vista kid, actually, almost came and played football for Buena Vista. One of those that he's excited. His brother is actually going to be playing for Buena Vista, I think, if I understood his dad right. So you're going to have a little bit of a family rivalry coming up in the rivalry game this year. So you got some good leaders.
One of his parents going to wear one of those shirts. What's that half together? So
I didn't get to the chance to ask him that one, but so you're going to have some storylines, but a good leader to have going in there. And I've heard nothing but good things coming from Coach Luttrell for the Salida Spartans about Jesse Camp and what he's been doing and the role he's been taking in the offseason. The part that's going to, I think, change the season for both teams, though, is going to be the defense. We mentioned the offenses, really more the same for Buena Vista. Salida's going to be growing pains and kind of getting used to that. The defenses are both in kind of that growing, but I think the athletes that both teams bring, Buena Vista and Salida, will help kind of take away some of that pain on the defensive side. And I think that with the defensive coordinators that the two sides have, they could have some pretty strong years.
Yeah, and I'm excited that we talked about both teams. I'm excited that this year's Buena Vista Salida game is an afternoon game on a Saturday, so it gives everybody an opportunity to come see the ball game. I'm not a big fan of Saturday high school games, but
That's selfish.
Yeah, well, because I'm a big college football fan, and you know that. But But that being said, when you're talking about a rivalry game, and it's early on a Saturday, great setting. They're gonna. I encourage everybody to come out from both sides. That's gonna be a fun Saturday afternoon.
It's gonna be a blast right up here in Buena Vista. Of course, you and me will have the call on that one. Dan will be down on the sidelines for us there. But I'm just excited to get the season going. I know you and I have the first Salida broadcast. That'll be on the 30th of this month, coming up in just a couple weeks away. And that'll be over in Summit. We'll be making the trip over there. We have Cotopaxi football coming your way. That's a team that I'm excited about. They're bringing back the number 5 passer in the state from last year, who was only a sophomore last year. They're also bringing back the number 2 receiver from last year in 6-man football, and I believe the number 8 or 9 running back. I can't remember where exactly Tyler Sawyer landed in that, but Cotopaxi, their offense is going to be something to watch this year down at the 6-man level. You and I will have a couple of those. South Park and Lake County, we're going to have some football games for them coming over the air. Lake County is going to be a question. With the season they had last year, only 12 kids, I think, on the team. So we'll see what exactly they bring back this year. And then South Park, they're hungry. They missed out on the playoffs by a 100th of a point last year.
Wow.
I mean,
We're talking a hair.
there's painful and then there's painful. And,
Sure.
and that's what South Park dealt with last year. So football season's here. I just can't wait to get it going.
You get excited, the off season is so long. It really is. And for true football fans like us, we've been counting down the days. Every time I see Caleb month after month, he goes, "Is it here yet? Is it here yet?" I'm like one of those kids on a road trip, that wants to get there. And,
We'll get there when we get there.
Yeah. No, I'm excited, and what I like is we're able to bring this to you, live week in and week out, and come out and support the kids.
Absolutely. That's what this is about. That's what we're there for. We love doing this, but honestly, if the choice is you listening to me on the radio or you being able to be at the game yourself, absolutely 100%, I'm always going to tell you go and catch the kids.
You can do both.
Do it.
Get your TuneIn app on your phone.
Absolutely.
You can tune in to Heart of the Rockies radio at the same time and do both.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And don't forget to check out Heart of the Rockies Radio Sports on Facebook. We shared it to that page, or this video to that page. So if you're watching it on Facebook and on the Heart of the Rockies Sports page, give us a like. If you're not, be sure to go over and check out the Heart of the Rockies Radio Sports page. All your student interviews, recaps of games, replays of games. We're going to try and do this a little bit more through the season to talk about how things have been going over the last week and what goes on in sports. But be sure to check it out. Heart of the Rockies Radio Sports on Facebook is the place to go. And Jimmy, thanks so much again.
Hey, look forward to 2019, Caleb. It's going to be fun.